Howdy y'all, thank you for joining me today for this unboxing of Marvel Champions, the card game hero pack, Silk. As you can see here, this is a pre-made 60 card deck. It lets you know it's got a pre-built deck ready to go, new cards that can be added to any Marvel Champions hero deck, and then it has the Nemesis, which is Morlun. So we're going to open this up, see what it's all about, go through it, and look at these new cards. I will admit, this is one of the characters I do not know much about. I remember reading some of the comics, but just wasn't really all that much interested in it. All right, there was already a pre-cut thing here to let you know, like a piece of tape, to let you know if your package has been tampered with. How about that? And then when you open this, you should have a sealed pack of cards. And then under this flap, make sure you grab the little instruction booklet. I see so many people who forget to grab that or just don't even realize it's there and throw it away with the package. And what this is just one, it's got the poster, which is just usually the art of whatever's here. I know I'm zoomed way in, but it's because we're going to be looking at cards. And then other than that, they just give you some rules and whatnot in here for stuff you need. Sorry, I hesitated there because I forgot. Got so anxious to want to open these up. I usually try to make a prediction, but when I was talking to people the other day, I actually said protection. We already see the deck is going to be protection, but we just assumed that because the ally card in the Silk in Marvel Champions is a protection ally, so we kind of figured, all right, it's going to be a protection ally. All right, I know there's already spoilers that have been out there, but I never look at the spoilers, so this is all going to be brand new to me and see what these are all about. And we're going to go through each of these cards and see what's up. All right, we're going to start on the alter ego side. So we have the alter ego of Silk here, which is Cindy Moon. She's got a recovery 3. She's got the genius keyword. If there are more than 4 tucked cards here, discard all but 4 of those cards. And as an action, discard a card tucked here to draw 2 cards. So just from that alone, it makes me assume there's going to be, well, of course, it says tucked cards. We're going to be tucking cards under here. And you're probably all of our abilities are going to be doing more of that tucking so that you can use them to draw more cards. And we'll see if she has something on the other side. But let's go ahead and look at starting hit points. 10, so average. And then hand size 6, which is typical. And then we're going to switch to the hero side and hand size 5. So that's typical to most characters. All right, we have Silk here. We knew she was going to be a web warrior. 1 thwart, 2 attack, 3 defense. Pretty good defense there. If there are more than 4 tucked cards here, discard all but 4 of those cards. Same thing from the other side. She is, we said web warrior already. Silk Sense. As a response, after you defeat a minion or side scheme or resolve a treachery card, tuck that card under here from the encounter discard pile. Okay, so I was thinking it was going to be tucking your cards, but actually, you're going to be tucking enemies and schemes. So she's going to be able to hold this stuff, which makes sense from what little I remember of the comics I read of her ability and the way her premonitions worked. So that's basically what I'm seeing here. So that seems like an interesting take. All right. So next we're going to go through her 15 cards that are unique if you are playing Silk. They have to be in your deck. And the first one is Smooth as Silk, 0 cost event. Hero action, choose an enemy or scheme and play. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a card from the same encounter set as the chosen card is discarded. Tuck that discarded card under Silk. Okay. Because at first when I started reading that, I was thinking you could use the standard and get rid of Shadows of the Past, but there is no scheme that I remember. Yeah, there's no scheme and there's no enemies in the standard, so this won't let you go get... But, I mean, let you go get, like, I could think of some of those encounter sets that have, like, yeah, the minions are a pain in the butt, but if you get their side scheme out, that makes them even more of a pain in the butt. So in this case, if that side scheme's out, or if one of those minions, I would want it the other way. You have one of those minions in play and you're worried about that side scheme coming out, you can at least just pop this to go get that side scheme and put it underneath her to where you don't have to worry about it coming out, and maybe even holding on to it for a while if you don't use it for the card draw ability or whatnot. So yeah, I like it. Basically, it's going to be controlling the encounter deck. Seems good. All right, we got Swinging Silk Kick, 3-cost event, aerial attack superpower, hero action attack, deals 7 damage to an enemy. You may discard a card tucked under Silk from the same encounter set as that enemy. If you do, this attack deals 2 additional damage and gains overkill. So, powering that up. In this case, you'd want to use this to go get the one from the villain and tuck it so that you can be doing extra damage to the villain. But I like it. Yeah, this is cool and unique and cool. I don't keep saying cool, but just didn't think about something like that. That's a neat way. They keep finding ways to refresh in this game. We have Wall Crawl, a 1-cost event, superpower thwart, hero action, thwart. Probably going to be the same thing about the tucking. Remove 2 threat from a scheme. Choose a scheme. You may discard a card tucked under Silk from the same encounter set as the chosen scheme to remove 3 threat from the chosen scheme. So once again, you can use it for the other stuff, but this is more powerful using with the main villains, which is going to be the main scheme. I can think of like 1 or 2, I think, that don't share the same main scheme with the villain. But I think I could be thinking of other things though. All right, we got a player side scheme here. Get the scoop. Alter ego action. Exhaust your identity. Remove 2 threat from here. Any player may trigger this ability. So that way, if you're playing with someone who doesn't have a very good thwart, in the case with her also, or Hulk, right? When defeated, the Cindy Moon player looks at the top 2 cards of the encounter deck and tucks one of those cards under their identity. So this one could go get Shadows of the Past and remove it from the deck. I also just like it, but you can also see how you're going to put that in, but it also doesn't harm you in any way. So eventually you just get it taken care of and get to do that. So it seems good. And actually, I just noticed, and it could be others, and maybe I just didn't notice them before, this does not have victory on it. Normally, the player side schemes have victory because then that means when you complete it, it goes to the victory pile and is out of the game. This one does not, so you will be able to trigger it multiple times if you're going through your deck or you have ways to shuffle things back into your deck. We got Albert Moon here, 2-cost support. Persona, alter ego action, exhaust Albert Moon, and choose. Tuck the top card of the encounter deck under Cindy Moon, or heal 1 damage to Cindy Moon for each card tucked under her. Those alter ego cards are always so good if you can get them out. And that one's really good. I mean, your tucking cards is going to let you do more draw. It's also going to just heal you if you have a bunch under you. Well, here we go. We got J.K. Simmons here. J. Jonah Jameson, 3-cost support. Persona, another alter ego card. Alter ego action, exhaust this card, search your deck and discard pile 4, get the scoop and put it into play. Which was that first card, right? No? Oh, get the scoop. It was that side. I knew we had just said it, so I was like, So this lets you go get it back. I was like, man, but you got to find a way to shuffle it up. But there you go. You don't have to find a way to shuffle it back in. This does it for you if you have it. As an action, exhaust this card, remove 2 threat from a side scheme. Yeah, I like this. I've been noticing this with, I know it's a sidetrack, but I've been noticing this more and more with the last few characters, is they're definitely making that alter ego thing more likely you're going to go back in alter ego form. Yeah, cards from the past, like it seemed like you would only go into that alter ego form if you wanted to draw an extra card, or you happen to have one of these cards out. But I've been noticing more and more they're going back to that alter ego, which I do like a lot because I enjoy playing some of those characters, but there's definitely times when it's like, I don't really care about going alter ego form. I just can't take an attack right now, so that's the only reason I'm going, or whatever reason. Eidetic Memory, 1-cost upgrade. Superpower, Interrupt. When you reveal a card from the same encounter set as a card tucked under your identity, exhaust eidetic memory, swap those cards, reveal the card that has been tucked under Silk instead. So that way if you hit one of those ones that's just not that big, you have a way to just go ahead and hit one that you could take at the moment, like, oh, we can allow a scheme to a scheme to happen, or we can allow an attack right now. So I could definitely see it. Organic Webbing, 2-cost upgrade. Silk gets +1 thwart. Hero action, exhaust Organic Webbing and discard a card tucked under Silk to ready Silk. She gains the aerial trait until the end of the round. So just a way of readying her. Of course, you got to tuck one of those cards, get rid of one of those cards. So, but I guess if you just need that extra attack or that extra scheme for the turn. Outwit, 2-cost upgrade. It's a skill hero interrupt. When Silk makes a basic thwart, exhaust Outwit. For this thwart, she gets +1 thwart for each card tucked under her from the same encounter set as a thwarted scheme. I like that one. Of course, you are limited to only 4 cards underneath there, but if you just make sure you're loading it down with that 1 or even just an additional 1 or 2, that just seems good. Spider Claws, 2-cost upgrade weapon. Hero interrupt. When Silk makes a basic attack, exhaust Spider Claws. Probably the same thing as this one. For this attack, she gets +1 attack for each card tucked under her from the same encounter set as the attacked enemy. This attack gains piercing. Spider Reflexes, 2-cost upgrade. Hero interrupt. When Silk defends, exhaust Spider Reflexes. For this attack, she gets +1 defense for each card tucked under her from the same encounter set as the attacking enemy. After this attack, tuck the top card of the encounter discard pile under Silk. Because at first I was about to say this is just exactly like these other ones, but these other ones, like, you gain piercing, blah, blah, but this lets you tuck more cards, so I like it. All right, we knew it was going to be protection right off the bat. And actually, I just realized we did not see an ally with her as in her main 15 cards. Probably has something to do, like I said, I don't know a lot about the character. She probably rolls solo, so makes a lot more sense. But right off the bat here, we see a new ally, and it is a Web Warrior for those Web Warrior decks. And we have Scarlet Spider here, 3-cost ally. 1 thwart with 2 consequence stars and 1 attack with 2 consequence stars. I don't know how I feel about the 2 consequence. Let's see what the ability is. Web Warrior, pretty good. 5 hit points. Interrupt. When another Web Warrior character would take any amount of damage, Scarlet Spider takes that damage instead. I'm not going to say it's bad. It's just not amazing. I mean, I'm trying to go over it multiple times in my head to see. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, I just break down that you're paying 3 because of the 2 consequence stars. You're only going to get 3 attacks or 3 thwarts. So that means you're only getting 3 thwart and 3 attack in some combination. And I mean, I guess he could absorb damage when another Web Warrior character would take any amount of damage. I mean, just based off this, it's just not amazing to me, but I could definitely think of some combos with the Web Warrior decks that I have seen other people play where you could, like I'm thinking of Spider-Ham, for instance, where he takes a damage, but you kind of want Spider-Ham to take the damage, but I can definitely see some combinations with the Web Warrior decks, but as of right now, without seeing the rest of this deck, not bad, just not amazing. But this also isn't one of my play styles, so. Spider Bite, 3-cost ally, 2 thwart, 1 attack, 2 hit points. Reduce the cost to play Spider Bite by 1 for each tech card you control. Oh, is this going to be a tech deck? And this is where I was kind of talking about, because you're paying 3 to get 4 thwart, or only 2 attack, but I mean, you're getting some extra thwart. And then if you have tech, and this ends up being a tech deck, or you throw this in a tech deck, then you're at least getting it cheap for that. So, not today. 1-cost event, defense, hero interrupt. Defense, when your hero defends against an attack, it gets +2 defense for that attack. If you take no damage from an attack, remove 2 threat from a scheme. I don't think this is a reprint. It could be just a different art. I know I have a bunch of these. When you defend, get +2 defense, and then you get to do something afterwards. I think I do remember one about removing threats, so this may be a reprint. If not, it's something similar, but I like these cards. Right now, they're in my Captain America deck is what I got them inside of at the moment. Stop hitting yourself. 2-cost event. Attack, hero response, attack. After you defend against an enemy attack and take no damage, deal damage to that enemy equal to your defense for that attack. Well, we already saw she has a decent defense, so you're paying 2 for 3 damage if you take no damage. And if you have that thing that gives you an extra plus defense, you're talking about 4 damage. Now you're going to be paying 2 for this. But there's also like those resource cards that are 2. So, I mean, this is very easy to pull off. Of course, it makes your hand really weak next time. But, I mean, I guess that's one less attack you have to make next time. Dr. Sinclair, 2-cost support. Persona Therapist, alter ego action. Exhaust Dr. Sinclair and spend a mental resource to heal damage from your alter ego equal to your recovery. You may discard 1 status card from your identity. Any player may trigger this ability. Actually, I like this. I like this because we're now getting some other ways that the alter ego cards... I mean, I've seen other ones. There's definitely ones like the one that came with the Guardians. I know it's in one of my decks. This one's cool because it lets you get rid of status, lets you do your recovery. Yes, you have to spend a resource, but you're not having to exhaust to do that recovery or get rid of a status. I mean, and the fact that any player may trigger this. So if you got those players that they're in alter ego form because they need the trigger, like I was talking about, they need to go in alter ego form and do some stuff. Now they went to alter ego form. Now they don't really need to recover. They're just doing it for the hit points, but they can do this so they can help you out too, so I like it. Energy Shield, 0-cost upgrade. Item tech, attached to a character, max 1 per character. Interrupt, when attacked character would take any amount of damage, spend X energy resources, prevent X of that damage. At first I was thinking this is a reprint, but I was like, I don't remember it being called Energy Shield. Nope, this is new, but this is cool. If you have a lot of these energy resources, especially if you're trying to trigger that thing where it's like you took no damage, or you have other cards that say if you take no damage, because then you can just discard 1 or 2 resources to stop that damage from happening so that you can trigger your other stuff. Ready for a fight. 1-cost upgrade, preparation. Oh, we haven't seen requirement for a while. Requirement has to be a physical to pay for this. Max 1 per player. Interrupt. When an enemy would scheme, discard ready for a fight. Change the hero form. That enemy attacks you instead. I like this for my Captain America deck. I don't know if I'd play with 3 of them, but I'd probably play with 1. Stun Gun. 2-cost upgrade. Tech weapon. Restricted, which means you can only have 2 restricteds in play at a time. Uses. 2 charge counters. Uses means that once the charge counters are gone, it goes away. Hero action, exhaust stun gun and remove 1 or 2 charge counters from it. If you removed 1 charge counter, stun a minion. 2 charge counters, stun the villain. If you have a way to get more counters on it, I mean, I guess paying 2 for a stun on the villain is not bad at all. No, it's good. And it's a tech, so if you're playing with a tech or a weapon deck. All right, we have Madam Web here. 3-cost ally, 2 thwart, 1 attack, 2 hit points. She is a Web Warrior. As a response, after Madam Web enters play, look at the top X cards of the encounter deck, where X is the number of Web Warrior cards you control. You may discard 1 card looked at this way and put the rest back in any order. Yeah, I know one of my players who plays Spider-Ham. This would be a good one in his deck, and it's a Web Warrior deck. Because he loves to get rid of that Shadows of the Past. So this is exactly one of those get rid of Shadows of the Past cards. This is, I'm pretty sure, a reprint. Spider-Man Peter Parker, 3 cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points. Requirement, you have to pay 1 of each resource. As a response, after Spider-Man attacks or thwarts, choose another Web Warrior character and raid that character. I'm pretty sure this is a reprint. I could be wrong, but I know this one is Across the Spider-Verse because it's one for the Web Warrior decks. 2 cost event, max 1 per deck, hero action. Exhaust a Web Warrior card you control. Search your discard pile for a Web Warrior ally and put it into play. Then choose a player. That player may spend 3 resources of any type to repeat this ability. Yeah, because we even had some questions on this one, but no, it's a good one. Investigative Journalism, 2 cost event. Team up. It's got to be Cindy Moon, which is this character, of course, and Peter Parker. So if you're someone else playing Spider-Man, max 1 per deck. Alter Ego Interrupt. When an enemy would scheme, cancel that activation and confuse that enemy. So, I mean, you just have him out and you can cancel a whole scheme as long as you're in Alter Ego form. Yeah, seems cool. These are the cards I was talking about. There's probably the Energy, the Genius, and the Strength. Then we get to the Obligation. Silk Sense Overload. Give to Cindy Moon player. Forced Interrupt. When a card would be tucked under your identity by a player card effect, tuck it under here instead. Then if there are 2 tucked cards here, you may discard this card. Remove it from the game instead if there are 3 or more tucked cards here. So you can just get rid of it once you get 2 tucked cards on there so that you can start tucking cards again. Or you just go ahead and tuck an extra card and just get it removed from the game. I mean, getting rid of it, just discard it after 2. Odds of you seeing it again unless you're playing against a villain that cycles through the deck quickly. Probably just go ahead and get rid of it after 2. So that'd be the whole deck. If you're new and you just want to jump in, that's all you would need. As long as someone else has all the rest of the core stuff to where you could play and whatnot. And you would just hand this to the person setting up the game, you would shuffle up this deck and it'd be ready to go. As a matter of fact, we are going to do a solo playthrough with this where we're going to put Silk up against Black Widow and see how the deck goes unchanged, just sleeved up. Next is the Nemesis for Silk. It's Morlun. Like I said, don't know the character, so I don't know this one very well. I'm assuming it's one of the Spider Hunters or Inheritors. I couldn't remember what they were called. Like I said, I remember reading the first issue of Silk. In the first few issues, I should say. It just didn't catch on to me, so a little lost. But I do want to play this because just seeing it sounds interesting. So we got Morlun here, minion, 1 scheme, 1 attack with a star. So we're going to see what that's all about. He's got 5 hit points, elite inheritor. Morlun gets +1 scheme and +1 attack for each encounter card tucked under each identity. Ooh. That makes me think we're going to see other identities tucking cards, which maybe that's what this whole thing's about. Maybe that's what we're going to see with Black Panther and some of these future ones is them tucking cards in other ways. I don't know. Or maybe I misread the whole tuck cards. Maybe it was tuck under an identity. I don't know. When defeated, discard each copy of Hunting the Spider Bride tucked under each identity. Yeah, I do remember. I did read about this character, or this bad guy. The Great Hunt, side scheme. When revealed, place 1 additional thread here for each card tucked under each identity. And then it has the additional encounter card. And it's going to have only 2 thread on it. So this is pretty easy to knock out if it comes out. But this is why I remembered it, because I do remember about the Spider Bride stuff. So I must have read a little bit more than I thought. Hunting the Spider Bride, Treachery, Surge. When revealed, if you have 4 cards tucked under your identity, discard 1 of those cards at random. Tuck this card under your identity. Forced response, after a player card effect discards this card from under an identity, that identity takes 2 damage, which if you remember, when he got defeated, you have to discard all copies of the Spider Bride, which would now do damage to you. So you defeat him, he does damage on the way out. Very rude. And there's 3 of those. So very, very rude. And that's it. So that's the end of the deck. It lets you know that's your pre-built deck. There's your Nemesis. Don't go to the side just in case you hit Shadows of the Past. There's your Obligation. There's your deck ready to go. There's your identity, character, hero. So, and then on the back of this, It lets you know if you just say you want to put this deck back together and you took it apart. It lets you know every card that's in that deck and how to rebuild it. And now after this, and I kind of already saw, and you might have seen it when I flipped it. I'm a little happy about what I saw there, but under this is going to be either new cards or new nemesis, but it looks like it's going to be new cards. Or I said new nemesis, new encounters, but we already saw new cards. And right off the bat here, we're seeing Spider-Man 2099. I did enjoy reading Spider-Man 2099, and I am a leadership person, so I'm interested to see what this is all about. So we got a 4-cost ally here, 2 thwart, 2 attack with something special, 3 hit points. As a response, after Spider-Man 2099 makes a basic power, use a basic power, return a Web Warrior ally in play to its owner's hand. That already got my mind just thinking, like, that makes those Web Warriors so good. The ones that take damage or that get tokens on them. And I'm even thinking about the one I'm putting down. Like, granted, it couldn't be in the same deck, but actually, they might be able to be in my Silk. I mean, not Silk. I'm building a Spider-Woman deck now. I'm trying to think if I couldn't do something like this. But yeah, so if I could throw a bunch of damage on Scarlet Spider and then have him bounce Scarlet Spider back to my hand so I can bring Scarlet Spider back out, I can see some stupid combos with the Web Warrior here. I like this. I like this card. This one's cool. Speaking of Spider-Woman, like I said, I'm still building this deck. I never did. I've been building it for a while. I need to just go ahead and start testing with it. But anyway, Spider-Woman, aggression, 3-cost ally, 1 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points. As a response, after a Web Warrior ally, including this one, enters play, deal 1 damage to an enemy. So if you are playing a Web Warrior deck, this could be really cool. And even if you're not, you just throw this character in, you're getting basically 6-7 damage, because this one comes in, does it, not including, oh, it does say ally. Okay, I'm about to say your identity, but yeah, it's just the ally, but still, you're getting 7 damage for 3. Seems good. Quick Quip, and my favorite Spider-Man villain for sure. Quick Quip, 2-cost event, requirement, mental, hero action, deal 1 damage to a Web Warrior character you control, place a total of 2 confused status cards on up to 2 enemies. Yeah, I like that. That's actually a really good Justice card, and if you have, I mean, you'd have to have a Web Warrior character, so you'd have to be playing one or at least have an ally or something. But being able to do 2 confuses for 2 seems good. And then I got another investigative journalism here. I guess so you could put it in a Spider-Man deck. Yeah, I guess you're going Spider-Man protection, because we just talked about that the Silk ally is a protection, and it's going to say Cindy Moon on it, so you can throw it in your Spider-Man deck. Okay, I said new encounter set, and I am right, but I also like this, and if they do this on each of them. So we just played through the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. campaign, and they had Thunderbolts, but I was like, man, your options are going to get limited pretty quick. If they're going to throw a new Thunderbolt in each of these, that's cool. Because that's, not only is that giving you an encounter set, because I love when I do this and give you a new encounter set inside these decks. I think that's awesome, because it's always going to give you some more variables to your play. But also, now this is also even wanting you more to go to the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So like, if you haven't checked out the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. yet, there is an scenario in there where you get to choose which Thunderbolts you're going to fight against or put into the deck. So if they're going to give you more Thunderbolts for that, I like it. So we got Atlas here, minion, 0 scheme, 3 attack. 18 hit points with something special on the hit points. He's got Villainous, which means he gets the boost card, just like the villain does. Victory 1, so that means when he gets defeated, it goes to the victory pile. Atlas gets +2 hit points for each growth counter on him. Force response, after the villain phase ends, place 1 growth counter on Atlas. So he's going to slowly, you got to take him out because otherwise it's going to get harder and harder. What, typically 3 hit points, so every, I was thinking the typical damage is like 3 hit points from a card, 2 from a player. So every 1 or 2 turns, you're having to do an extra attack. So, yeah. And it says there's 6 in here for Growing Strong. Here's the side scheme for that Thunderbolt. Grow Invulnerable. Side scheme, when revealed, place 1 additional threat here for each growth counter on Atlas. It already starts at 5, so it could have a bunch. If Atlas has 10 or more growth counters on him, you lose the game. So another scheme that just could lose you the game. Now, granted, you'd have to, man, you have to go through, he'd have to have been out for 10, and in that's, I guess in that scheme, or that scenario, did we have a Thunderbolt out for 10? Well, I think we could have, but we would, of course, target this one because we wouldn't want this to happen. And then it's got the Crisis thing, so Crisis means you can't do anything against the main scheme unless you take care of this scheme first. Growing Strong, so just like his ability, right? That was what it said, Growing Strong. No, it's just growth counters. Growing Strong. Oh, that's the name of the, I was like, I just said Growing Strong. It's the name of his thing. Growing Strong. Treachery. When revealed, find Atlas and reveal him. If he is already in play, he engages you. Atlas activates against you. If no enemy activation this way, this card gains Surge. As a boost, give the activating enemy a tough status card. Ooh, I don't like the boost at all. I'd almost rather, I mean, this is a pain in the butt, but I'd almost rather deal with that than sometimes you're building up these big damages and tough just gets in the way. Titanic Proportions. Treachery. When revealed, the players as a group take X indirect damage, where X is the number of growth counters on Atlas. If X is less than 3, this card gains Surge. So if you're dealing with him, you're going to have to deal with this. Boost. If Atlas is in play, place 1 growth counter on him. Oh, we just talked about how pain in the butt that could be, and we get 2 of those. No, I like that. I will admit, between this and Black Panther, since they both came out at the same time, is the only reason I'm comparing them, that between these, if I had to choose a character, it was probably going to be Black Panther. I do want to try this. I want to see how this tuck card thing goes. And we're going to do that. We're going to do it with Black Widow. I'm just going, like I said, we're going to do a solo where I'm just going to sleeve all these up, mix the deck up. We're going to play it up against Black Widow because it's the first part of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. expansion. And then we will put this, I love when they do these extra encounters, and when they do that, I make sure that that is one of the encounter sets. When it says that put a random encounter set in there, I make sure to put in the one for that character. And I like all these cards. I mean, it's only one, and it's only because I don't play Spider-Man. I don't have a Spider-Man deck, so that's the only reason I don't play Spider-Man. I've always wanted to, but so many characters, and I love playing the ones I got, so it's always rough to I always want to build more decks, but it's rough choosing what characters to play at the time. But yeah, I like these cards for sure. We'll see how that goes. I think this video has been long enough. So I'll try to get that played through and get that video up to where y'all can see how the deck reacts unchanged just up against a villain. And see how Silk does against Black Widow. Thank you for watching and have a great day.